Here we go. Here we are. How you doing? It's fun time.
Doing great, man. I'm doing wonderful.
That's good. One second. Okay. All right. That's great. That's great. It's been a while. August 5th was the last time we talked, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
August.
And you
Well,
said,
I do so many of these that I'm not really I can't keep track anymore, man.
well, actually, the last time I knew I interviewed you on 2021 and then 2022, but I didn't keep track of the date. So after that day, I said to myself, I want to start keeping track of me and Tommy's interviews here. So I'll just have,
That's a good idea.
yeah. So what have you been up to? Oh my goodness.
Oh, just been enjoying the lockdown and
Yeah.
enjoying the pandemic, and
Oh yeah.
enjoying the war in Ukraine, and just enjoying everything.
Wow.
Enjoying the Trump meltdown.
Oh yeah.
It's like our country's we've got a nuclear weight of meltdown, and only good news is it's not that dangerous radiation you get with atomic mess.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
It's that really good. It's a smell of ignorance being burned,
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah.
The ignorance, it raises its evil head, and then the truth sort of knocks the shit out of it again, but it's hanging in there because that's the nature of our physical world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 1 minute the world is a great place to live in, the next minute it's treacherous. I mean, as I said before, man, the best world we're going to live in is after we leave this world. That's
Well, no, I mean, we're here. You can't enjoy things in heaven, by the way, because there's nothing but love, and there's no want, need, or desire.
oh, absolutely.
And so it's like going on vacation. After a while, you go, I can't wait to go home. you know,
Oh,
you know. I don't care where the vacation is. It could be Hawaii, it could be anywhere beautiful. But after a while, you get bored with perfection. You know, it's bored. It's boring.
oh yeah.
And so we Jones, whether we know it or not, for to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. I'm not trying to interpret this wrong. Yes, I do think that we have to live life right to the fullest and we have to enjoy life as long as we can. But after we leave this world, it's going to be also a nicer place as well. I think.
Well, yeah, it never stops. I mean, you look at what I've got a little granddaughter, you know, and I'm watching her grow up, and I'm watching the world at the same time, and and once she gets comfortable with, say, breastfeeding, first of all, it takes a while to learn how to suck a titty, and once she learns, and the joy and everything, she gets comfortable right up to the point now she really knows what's going on. Boom.
Yeah.
Now that titty goes, and now she has to learn how to drink out of a cup.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable and she hates it, but after a while, again, she gets used to it, and that's our world, you
Oh,
know and there's a lot of us still sucking that titty, and eventually they will evolve like everybody else, and it's just a circus that never stops.
no, exactly. Exactly. It's like that song by now. I'm going back to my childhood days, which is with the Smurfs. And it used to be a song called Merry-Go-Round. And that story is about a man who was once a baby. He
Call
became
me back. I got to do a podcast.
okay, no problem. You want me to put that on?
Go ahead.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was just saying that it's like the song "The Merry-Go-Round" by the Smurfs.
Yeah.
The song starts with a man; he's a baby. They become,
Yeah.
then he becomes an older person. I mean, it's the trail of life. It's this roller coaster of life. It's
Yeah. And we're only given enough knowledge to make our life meaningful. You
Exactly.
know, in other words, if you're born into it uh, totally ignorant,
Yeah.
that is because you have a lot to learn, and you will learn. You
Oh,
will learn. You
I know.
know, and I imagine there's a lot of souls that are uh, back 3, 4, 5, maybe 1,000 times to relearn the same the
Right.
same lesson. But you know what we have? We have eternity. And eternity means is that there's no end to there's no end to stupidity.
No,
There's no end to enlightenment.
exactly.
It just keeps going, and the more it goes, the more exciting it gets. Well, with people like me, that's why I love doing these podcasts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the reason is that when you get old, people really don't want to hear what you have to say. In the family, especially.
Right.
You see, you raised your kids, you've been, telling them what to do until they get old enough. Now they tell you what to do,
True.
you know.
Very true.
And I've experimented a few times, just try to voice my opinion. And I swear my voice doesn't go any further than about a foot out of my mouth. They don't hear it. But instead of being, jonesing for the good old days, I accept it,
Yeah.
because that to me is like, and like martial arts, for instance. Martial arts only works if you're defending yourself. See, it's not a good art to learn martial arts to attack anybody.
No.
Only if you're defending yourself. You see, and
Exactly.
so up until that, you're peaceful.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finding out with age, is that we have a power. Age has there's a lot of power in being older. You get people give you a lot of well, first of all, if you're on a bus and you got nowhere to sit, people see you're an old guy, boom, they'll get up and give you a place to sit.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
There's perks.
Oh yeah.
And if you can enjoy those perks, you can enjoy life. And that's what I've been doing.
Well, exactly. And I come from a generation, Tommy, where respect was basically a must. I mean, my father, he might have been short and stocky as he was, but if I was a situation where I got a little bit, let's just say, out of hand, all he'd have to do is give me that look. And I knew it was in my best interest to sit my ass down and be quiet. And people would say, the guy is short and stocky. You could probably take him on. It's remembering he brought you into this world and he can darn well take.
my dad, my dad only got physical with me one time. I was 16 years old. I wanted to quit school. I was in Army cadets, and then when I was in Army cadets, I started hanging out with the zoot suiters, the bad crew, the anti-Army cadet people, and so I got in with the so-called bad crowd. But I always wanted to, because girls that I'd walk to school with, they always, the football players and that, they didn't interest them. The bad guys, oh my God, you couldn't hear enough of them. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, that. And so then I realized, if you want to be, especially being brown like I was, be a bad brown guy. Ooh, and so that's what I did. And so when I wanted to quit school, my dad, he hardly spoke. He was very Chinese and he was a truck driver, so he hardly had anything to say. He was so used to sitting there being quiet. And so I told him, I told my mom. Then I got smart ass with my dad, and like said something. I said something that I learned from all the bad guys. Next thing I know, I'm upside down in a closet. I don't even remember. I
Oh,
don't I don't remember. It wasn't a smack, wasn't a hit. It was some kind of Chinese karate move. I was like, I'm upside down in the closet. Boom.
oh,
And then and I'll tell you this, my dad did something It was very Chinese, and it hurt me to this day. It hurts me. He was in the process of cooking the family meal, and he was so mad. He wanted to punch me out so bad, but he couldn't, because it couldn't hurt his son. So what he did, he destroyed the meal. He turned the meal. He took the frying pan and turned it upside down. The food. He destroyed the meal.
Oh boy.
I to this day, this is the first time I've told this.
Oh wow.
To this day, I felt so much shame and so much sorrow and so hurt that I hurt my dad that much that he would do that.
Wow.
And oh, was that effective? That was the last time I even looked like I got smart with him, because what you do with your actions, it's your actions that command respect, not your words.
Exactly.
It's how you act. And that's why my dad was such a, to this day, my dad was always my biggest hero. And the reason why was that, like everybody in that generation, he had a problem with alcohol.
Right.
But he never missed a day of work.
Wow.
And there was no job beneath him. He never turned down a job. He never missed a day of work. And when he got fired from driving the truck freightways because of alcohol-related mistake, he came out to Vancouver, lived with me in Vancouver. At first, we all lived in one house, but then no one really could afford it. We couldn't afford the big house. And so we had to split up into units again. My mom and dad, they rented a little apartment. And my dad went out and got a job. Guess what? As a garbage man.
Garbage man. Wow.
A garbage man, picking up garbage cans and throwing them in the back of garbage trucks. And his biggest claim was that during a parade, he was one of the guys with the shovels that walked behind the horses and picked up the horse shit. And he was proud of that. He was in the, you see me in the parade, I was in there. Yeah. And we had the biggest laugh. That's where I got a lot of my humor, but that's where I learned about respect and my respect to my dad. Never. I mean, he was so cool. And at the end of the toward the end of his life, and then when I started making it big in Hollywood, I played these little games with him, because he was a gambler and he loved having a roll of cash in his pocket. But because he wasn't working, he was retired. And so I would come by and I would find ways to fatten his wallet, little things. I'd say, Pop, you got change for 100? He goes, no. Well, here then. It's no good to me. I give him a couple of $100. Say, well, here, yeah, thank you.
We're gonna call this interview the bouncing camera, because every 2 minutes, the camera would fall off.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought, oh well.
The bouncing camera interview. My goodness.
It's one of his things, I guess.
It is.